Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Simply Colorful FiberCast. Today's date is November 23rd, 2018, and my name is Lynn Marquardt, and I'm your host. So welcome, and let's get sewing together because it's amazing what we can do in 60 minutes, even when we don't know what we're doing, which for longtime watchers, you know that does happen. Tonight, it's going to happen again because tonight we received this box in the mail from Pat. Thank you, Pat H. And in it is a kit. And we're going to make it tonight. So grab your project and let's see what we can accomplish in these next 60 minutes. Or 59 minutes now because I've been too busy chatting and not doing enough sewing. So how cool is this? This arrived the day before Thanksgiving and I waited until this morning to open it. Look at this. I wonder what's in here. Beautiful box, by the way. So in here, ooh, look at this. I had no idea this was coming, which makes it doubly, triply surprising. And it says, a cloth Christmas tree. And look at this. There are no pictures. It's just written word, and I have never seen a picture of what we're making. With the exception, I think I have seen one, but I don't know if it's this pattern. So we'll be surprised together. There's a piece of fabric here. Oh, I love this. How perfectly Christmas is that? I suspect that's what we're going to make a Christmas tree out of. Okay. And then, what else do we have here? Oh, we have embellishments. Oh, I love those. Snowflakes and stars and baubles and beads. A piece of wire. Really thick flower wrapped wire. Ooh, look at this. Pre-strung lights for the tree. And then this, oh, I love this. This is like a vintage Coats and Clark's, boil fast, mercerized sewing cotton. I love this. How old do you think this is? Oh, Pat, this was such a sweet gift. I love this. You can't get wooden spools like this anymore. Okay, I'm just winding it up here. Well, there we go. Look at that. Okay, so I don't think we're going to need this bag anymore. So this is what we're doing today on FiberCast, and I am so excited. Okay, let's put those over there so you can see those, right? And here is this. Let me make sure our iron is on. I'm assuming we have to iron this, and I turned on the iron before turning on FiberCast so it would be all ready. Because yes, I did pull this out once, and I did scan the directions. And then I thought at about 7 o'clock, as Bob and I were downstairs watching Trading Spaces, which is so funny, with Eddie Murphy and Bill Murray, done in 1983. And I thought about, half an hour ago, oh, I should go upstairs and start making this tree, this three-dimensional tree. That's about all I know about it so that I can be ready for FiberCast. And then I decided, nope, I'm going to finish watching the movie, and then we're going to just discover this together. And we'll just see what we come up with. I think it'll be fun. As always, send your pictures or notes or anything you're working on. Tell me about your holiday. Say hi to other FiberCasters at lynn@simplycolorful.com. Okay, so we have 1 fat quarter of cotton material, thread and metallic thread. Ooh, I have thread to match. I don't have metallic thread, but I have green thread. I'm sure we can find metallic if we need it. A turning and stuffing tool. I pulled out my Barbara Willis design stuffers. Remember my stuffing fork? And the reason this is so valuable is at the top, I don't know if you can see that, there's a little fork. And that helps grab the fiber stuffing fiber, which I have here. But first we have to create something to stuff, I do assume. Small beads for decorating, star and snowflake shapes for the tree topper, 8 inches of heavy wire. Pat says I used paper-covered floral wire, so that's what we have. A wooden spool or block for the base. Okay, so this is going to be our tree stump. Well, this is interesting. It says old spools of thread are great for this project. Leave the thread on the spool and water down a bit of white craft glue. Brush it over the thread to seal it in place. It will darken the color just slightly. That is a great idea. So you dilute some glue, put it on this. I might wrap this thread better or maybe unwrap to the very end so that I just have one flat surface of the thread. This is beautiful. And then I'll give it a good coat of the glue all over, and that will be my base. Okay, sewing needle, scissors, wire cutter, and small pliers. I do not have a wire cutter and small pliers. So if and when we get that far, I'll go find those. She says the tree pattern is a template. Okay, still more writing, which they're so clear. Pat, there is no one like Pat to net things out. She is incredibly good at describing, giving instructions and describing what's at hand. Okay, so here we go. That looks like a tree. Template, trace, sew on the tracing line, cut out, okay, so I'm going to sew it first, then cut out with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and clip all the curves. And look at this, there are 2 different shapes. This is a big fat tree and this is a skinny tree. So I wonder, it says trace 3 trees on doubled fabric, right sides together. Sew on the tracing line, leaving a 2-inch opening at the bottom and back stitching at the start and end. Cut out trees with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and clip all the curves. Turn the trees right side out and gently push all branch points, finger press. So here is the question. It says trace 3 trees on doubled fabric. I'm going to assume that the 2 patterns there are 2 different sizes of trees. So either I want to make a small thin one or a fat one. And I think I'm going to go with I wonder if it says anything. I'm going to read ahead to see if I need both of them. Nope. Nope. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do then. I'm going to go for this tall, skinny one. And first off, I need to cut out the template. Oh, this is so fun. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. I'm sure we have enough accoutrements to make double here. And then I'm cutting this out. And I suppose you could have all sorts of fun adapting this pattern. Because what tree in the world is totally symmetric or the same shape? They've got to be almost like snowflakes in that no 2 are alike. Okay, there's our tree. Okay, now I'm going to fold this over, and this is classic doll making technique that I never knew until I joined the Textile Tarts, and it has been, knowing how to do this has been so helpful in so many things that I've made, which is, now that I have a template and I know that I need to create three double copies of this, meaning I need to create this, sew around 3 times, and then cut. The learning is sew it first, then cut it out. Okay, so I am going to draw the template on, but no one is ever going to see that because it's on the wrong side. And let's make it all go the same way. So here's what I'm going to do. To preserve fabric, since this is a littler tree, although, you know, I think I kind of would like it if it had one more tree limb. I'm going to make a change. Hang on, I need my template. Here, we'll do this. I hope this doesn't really goof things up, but I don't think it will. Famous last words, right? Well, I don't have a piece of tape, so I'm going to pin this here. And what I want to do is draw with a pencil another tree topper. That is going to be a nightmare to stuff, but that's okay. Okay. Oops. Hang on. And then we'll draw. Okay. So it's a longer tree. So we'll adjust our fabric a little bit down here and make a sandwich upon which we can draw 3 copies. Oh, this is so what I needed tonight. We had Thanksgiving here. What did you all do? I know some of you were traveling. Some of you were going out to dinner, which sounds unique and fun. Some of you were cooking a big meal. I saw some people doing seafood instead of the traditional turkey. Ooh, this is going to look unique. And you know what? Once I do this 3 times, knowing me, it'll be 3 different shapes when I'm done. Okay, and it says leave the bottom open. So there's one. Oh, I bet you could do this with multiple fabrics too to make it more interesting. I'm not going to this time around. Who went, well, before we talk about Black Friday shopping, we should keep talking about Thanksgiving. And I'm going to dotted line on the bottom. So that's 2. Now one more here. I'm going to pin it. I already put some green thread in my machine. So that's all set. I just want to, okay. Didn't make too much room. Leave enough here for the 1/4 of an inch seam. Dot, dot, dot. Hello, Mom, if you got home. I hope you had a good day. Mom left here early in the morning after helping Bob and me feed, what was it, 26 for dinner and some more for dessert. Although people didn't eat a lot of dessert. And then she went right to the boat And then her volunteer gig at Felix Neck. So, Mom, I hope you're home relaxing. Okay, I'm moving this out of the way, and I hope you're warm. Yikes, it's been cold here. So I'm going to put this aside. That's what we're using. Oh, here's what I'm going to do. So I am going to just cut all 3 of our trees out like this. Okay, there's that. We'll put this aside. This will go in a quilt. Yay! Okay, let's pull this over a little bit. And I'm going to make my stitch pretty small, 1.7. Hopefully that's not too small. Shouldn't be. Ooh. Oh, I'm not going to make these too jiggy because then they'll be more difficult to stuff. So I'm going to make sure to round the corners here in between boughs. When you're doing doll parts like this, I would go much slower, and I would use an even smaller stitch. And then if it's a really small doll part, before you switch it over, you put fray check on it. So you kind of soak it in that fray check. I think that's how you do it. I think that's how Jean did it. They've done it with very small Tilda dolls, so that even if you blow out a seam, the fray check will keep it glued, all the fibers kind of glued in space, in that space. That one was not good. I have to show you this one. In the essence of time, I'm trying to speed up a little, but look at, can you see how far off that is? So I'm going to have to undo that just a little bit, especially this bottom bough, because I want my tree to stand up sort of straight. All right. Ah, it's always the way. You know that old adage, you get in an accident a mile from your home. It's that last little bit. You get a little anxious to get home, go a little too fast, you stop thinking. That's why I'm always, I always get superstitious when I am nope, I'm just going to leave it for now. When I used to downhill ski, the last run of the day, I would always worry about falling. But when you start thinking like that, you should go to cross-country skiing, I think. We had such a nice time here. Our neighbor came over, Lucille and Bridget, our neighbors, as did Rusty and Joan and Tracy. We had a nice time talking about Lucille and Bridget had taken their family down to Washington, D.C. and had seen all sorts of museums. They stayed at in Foggy Bottom at I don't know if it was an Airbnb or a condo type place, and they said it was great fun. Anyone, even if you're not in America, Washington, D.C. is a great place to visit. With all the Smithsonian museums that are free, you can go in and out. You can see all of just the spectacular buildings, monuments that are built there, the war monuments, each one typifying the war more than another, typifying their specific war. You can go across the bridge to Arlington National Cemetery. And I should know this for sure. Was it George Washington or Thomas Jefferson's house over there? Monticello, of course, in Virginia is where Jefferson lived. So maybe Arlington is Washington. We'll have to look that up. I never said this was the History Channel. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So we have three, I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. 3 trees outlined. Now what we need to do is draw a straight line down the middle of all 3 of them. It said to do that, and the pattern even has the dotted line on it. So I'm going to do that before I cut them out. It's just easier. And I'm not even going to measure it. Again, trees come in all sizes. They're not all necessarily perfectly straight. Like people. Everyone is a little different. And that, my friends, is the beauty of nature. Okay. So now we have our 3 trees. And now it said, first I'm going to cut them apart. I bet some of you out there have done this before. If this is what I think it is, I think it's going to be just a stuffed 3-dimensional tree. It's going to be ours. So I'm cutting 1/4 inch, and then I'll go back. Ooh, some places it'll be 1/8 inch. And I'm going to clip the seams so that they ease in. Okay, there's one. Put that there. I believe what we're going to do, because I read the directions, is after we cut and clip all 3 of these trees, we're going to lay them one on top of the other and then sew a straight, oh no, we have to turn them right side out. Then we lay all 3 of them together and we sew a line up the middle. So we attach all 3 of them together and then we systematically stuff it from here, from the tip down to the trunk. And we do it 1 bough at a time on each one. So there's the second one. I know that was clear as mud, but I think I do know what it meant. And the reason the instruction was so good is because it immediately told me, and I'll read it to you, but it immediately told me what not to do. It said, you don't want to just stuff one whole side of one of your 6 panels, because that'll get really puffy, and then it'll be hard to stuff the others consistently. Instead, we're going to stuff all of the bow here, and then all of that, and then all of the bows there and there and there and there. And I just heard a hello. Who's out there? Who's out there? Hey, KB. Hello. Happy Friday. What does KB say? Out in Pennsylvania. Oh, man. What a perfect project for tonight. She says, I love it. Enjoy your holiday weekend. Oh, you too, KB. Ah, you too. I hope you're doing exactly what you want to do with no guilt involved. Okay, there's 3. Now I am going to clip a couple of these inner corners. I guess I should do the outer corners too. You know, if this comes out, and let's say you want to make one of these or a couple or 3, this clipping is something you can do in front of the TV. Strikes me. Be a good TV chore. Speaking of which, I have 2 baby quilts that I put bindings on today, so that I did not work very hard today, by the way, but I sewed a couple of bindings on by machine, and they're downstairs. While I was watching Trading Places, I finished almost 1 baby quilt, so that's good for our charity quilt project. Okay, so there's that. I don't know if I need to do that. There's 1. Oh, you know what? I'm going to turn it inside out and see if that was enough clipping. And this is where I start to pull out my fork even. Even before you have stuffing, you can use it. Being careful not to puncture your fabric, though. You just want to gently ease it out. Gently ease. Oh, this looks like a tree. Oh my. Oh, I think we're missing. Look at that. I don't think that's exactly right. I think we're missing some boughs. And sure enough, okay, and it just says finger press. At this phase. Okay, there's 1. That'll be good. They probably just want us to finger press so that we don't get a crisp iron seam that it'll be hard to get out an iron seam once we're stuffing it. It was so great to see our nieces and nephews yesterday. It was great to see everyone. The next generation has started. So we had our first new baby. So of the next generation, which sounds kind of makes us, I guess we're not that old, are we? We're still young. we were talking about that. It's not like previous generations, like my mother's, where all of her cousins were born within a couple of years. The next generation, the cousins are spread more apart. On my husband's side, there are 11 nieces and nephews, and there's about a 10 to 12 year range. So the oldest is over 30 and he and his wife just had their first baby, a baby boy. And the youngest is a freshman in college. And so what is she, 20, 19? So yeah, 10, 11 years between them all. And we had boyfriends and girlfriends attend, which is great, always great. And now I think we're going to get into situations, and we were fortunate we had them all here. So next year, I suspect we won't be quite so fortunate. I suspect we're going to have to share them with other families. I know the oldest, James and Caitlin and their baby, Connor, were at her family's house first for Thanksgiving. And then we all waited. We had our meal. We had our pie and cookies. We were chit-chatting, and we waited quite a while for James and Caitlin to come from her parents' house, which is understandable. It's a long ways away, and you can imagine that poor baby and them, James and Caitlin. That's a long day to have to share with. Probably, if you figure there were 26 people on our side waiting, it looked like maybe they didn't have quite that many people, but we're still talking more than 10. So that's almost 40 people waiting on James and Caitlin and this one little baby. So, and boy, I wanted to pick that baby up, but of course I didn't. In the pecking order, I am nowhere near being able to pick that baby up. Sure is cute. Okay. See, so it's not perfect, but it's going to be fine. There's the second one. Now let's clip this, and then we quickly need to sew it and then stuff it. What do you think? Can we get this done in 60 minutes? Welcome to our new viewers, by the way, and hello to everyone who has been with me for so long. We are about wrapping up our 5th season here of FiberCast. So all of you, congratulations for hanging in there and going with the flow and sharing the ups and downs of our sewing life. A lot of us use this just as a check-in point. It's not like I know many of you don't watch the whole hour, which is fine. I just love to know you're out there, and I want you to know I'm here. I do have a long arm machine quilting business that if you do happen to have any quilts that you'd like long armed, I'd be happy and would welcome the opportunity to do them. But really, Friday nights are just about us unwinding and doing what we love to do. I know usually, tonight's not the case, but usually my husband is playing in the band down in the cellar. So for many years, Friday nights, I would look for things to do. I'd go out with my girlfriends, or I'd be sewing alone, frankly, oftentimes, or probably more often I don't want to blow that out. If I'm being honest, I probably had intentions to sew, but by the time Friday night comes around, we're all tired. I work, right? And I'm sure there were many Friday nights that I had an excuse and I ultimately didn't sew. I probably just vegged in front of the TV or whatever I did, probably went shopping and spent money I didn't have to. But now, since I've been doing this, it's not just a catchy jingle or phrase. I get so much done. I've done more sewing the last 5 years than probably I had done in many years prior to that. And it's not like it's a lot. It's 60 minutes once a week. And it's just that impetus needed. You all help me to keep going, and just, I hope you also find it useful. Sandra, if you're out there, hello. Sandra was one of our earliest adopters, if you will, and she is prolific with charities, and whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing. And then, of course, Allie down under is always doing the Moda blockheads or other challenges of the month. And it's so fun to see Norma and her cousin Marquet oftentimes are doing mystery quilts or fixing and finding vintage machines. All of you are just so creative. Annie up in Sioux Falls is always doing something. Okay, so now we have 3 of them. Okay, let's go back to the instructions. Cut out the trees, clip all the curves, and turn them. Okay, finger press. Lay all 3 trees on top of each other, matching the top to the bottom and side to side. It says they don't need to match exactly. It makes the tree more interesting. Yay, yay, yay. Sew down the middle of the tree from the top point to the center of the bottom. Backstitch. You will have 6 tree sections, right? So once we do this, we're going to have 6 tree sections. Stuff the tops of each section and work down to the next set of points. Push the stuffing into the branch points. The next layer of stuffing will help hold the previous stuffing in place. Note, if you stuff an entire section and move around the tree, you will find it very difficult to stuff the last 2 sections. So I hear that, and it says to me, don't stuff one whole section. Instead, we're just going to stuff it on top. Okay, so we've gone over that a couple of times. Let's just get these matched up. Oh boy, they look different. Matched up as much as we can. Just want to make sure the tip is there. Okay. These are different. Oh, and now I need to draw that line again. The line was on the wrong side. Okay. Now I'm going to use my, you see this? Okay, let's pin the other side, and I'm going to show this to you. There's going to be 6 layers of fabric. So there is a line down there. Now it said go start from the top. And the top points are different. Just try to make them all pointy. Not that it really matters. Okay, and it said go back and forth. Okay. So there we go. Okay. So 6 sections. Let's get started with the stuffing. Now it's a little space up there, so you don't want to go crazy with too much stuffing right away. And this may take us a while. Stuffing is a key part of making three-dimensional things, in my opinion. I like to stuff things pretty tightly. It gives them more of a form, unless it's really purposefully a rag type doll or item that I want to be intentionally floppy. And if that's the case, if I'm trying to make something intentionally floppy, I will add little beads or sand or something that can, crushed walnut shells, that can help it be all the more floppy. So I'm not stuffing it. I'm just putting a little bit into all six. And then I'll go around and see how tight we think we want to make this. It's like the Raggedy Ann that I've made. I really try to stuff those hands and feet a lot because I like how they're heavier and they flop down with expression. Go. You twist the fork a little bit if you're not catching it. So you push it in and you twist it, and then you're able to push a bit more. Okay, we have 4 done. You guys know that by doing this here, it'll be so nice to go to Dog Club in December and bring my homework. My homework will be done. At least one part of it. I think we also are making ornaments for each other. I have to check. Because unfortunately, I haven't been to Dog Club in a while. Ugh, it's been busy. I have 4 quilts to finish for the charity this year. And I've got all the pieces here. I finished one, or I put the binding on it. That's one of the baby quilts that I did today. Oh, did everyone see the Missouri Star Quilt Company special? Today's deal of the day is a free white 5-inch Kona pack, square. Ooh, there we go. So now I'm going back in, like this one looks a little smaller. The more you pack it, of course, the heavier it is, and that can be very nice too. This is going to stand on my mantelpiece. Okay. Okay, we'll put a little in. Oh, my goodness. Let me see who's out there. All my excitement to do our 3D tree. Forgot. I need to check the email. Huh. So can you see how one side's higher than the other? This is going to be very interesting. You don't want to push too hard because you can blow this out, like we were saying. But you also want it to look crisp. Okay. More. Then you're also trying to prevent having little balls of batting wadded up. You want to kind of try to integrate one set of stuffing into another. So you don't stuff it all completely down. You put another group in and then you keep stuffing. So it's kind of like, here's this. You want to integrate that and push that in, but keep a little out like that. And then when you bring this in, you stuff it in, but you still want to have some out. And I'm sure there are more tricks that I don't know yet about getting it smooth on the outside. Okay, I think I'm ready to start the second round. But before I do that, let's see who's out there. I want to make sure and say hi to you because it's the holiday season is coming. Hi, Mom. Aw. Mom says, thanks for the minced cookies. We made Grammy's minced cookies. Oh, were they good? Okay. Uh-oh, updated yesterday. Maybe no one's out there. Again, it's Lynn at simplycolorful.com. And it's okay if you're not out there. It's okay. Hey, but Misty's out there. Misty in Colorado. She says, so happy to see you tonight. I too love the project you are doing. Oh, good. She says, how far apart are you clipping around the tree? Just wondering if more is better. Love the show, Misty. Oh, thank you, Misty. Well, I only did it about 1/8 of an inch. I made 3 or 4 on the inner curve. I made a couple on the outer curve. I made 3 or 4 on the inner curve of each inner curve. That was it. And I think that's fine, personally. This is not going to be a fine art piece. It's just not. I didn't even use the tightest stitch. I used a 1.7 stitch. If I really wanted to make this a real fine sculpture, I would have gone way down on the stitch, maybe to 0.9. And I would have gone much more slowly and followed the curve better. And then I probably would have clipped, I probably would have done it twice. So I would have followed the whole seam all the way around. And then for extra insurance, I would go around it again, maybe even a hair off it. So you end up having 2 stitches all the way around. And then I do more clipping. And when you clip, you want to get as close to those 2 threads in that instance as possible, but just don't clip the thread. And that's why it's good to have 2 threads. You have an insurance if by chance you do clip the first one. But I'm glad you're out there, Misty. Awesome. You, I'm sure, can relate to the cold and the snow we've been having here. Oh, coldest Thanksgiving on record in many parts around here. Mom and I had to go out and find some last minute things, which I have to, by the way, we have to talk about. Talk about Massachusetts and the blue laws. But when we went out mid-morning yesterday, it was 14 degrees in the car. We went out and I was sure that our major supermarket chains, Price Chopper and Stop and Shop around here, are the 2 that are closest. I thought for sure they were open. I went online, it said hours. Price Chopper says they're open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. But that's nationally, apparently. And in Massachusetts, we still have blue laws, which is fine. Nothing that we really did need, to tell you the truth. We could have made do without it. And Workers got to be home with their families. So it's all fine. And I do understand, especially on Sundays, I guess, less so on Thanksgiving. Do it, but then again, it doesn't matter. I do understand it. It's nice to think that we don't have to be consumers all day, every day, all year long. It's kind of nice to think that we as a race and as a society can spend time doing other things. But we all work different hours, conversely, and it's an always-on society now. So the night owls, I was reading, people who some people just, they're predisposed to being up at night. They just do better and they sleep during the day. It's a known fact. And that in the past, I guess historically, might have limited you to the sorts of jobs that were a good fit. But now with this mobile work anywhere type economy we have, it's actually good for them and it's good for business because you can get people willing to work at different hours when you need them. So, a very dynamic world. And my tree is growing. I'm on the second one here. See, that went way up. I'm always a little concerned when my stuffing goes way up. I wonder what other holes there are, pockets. Because I don't want to get down to the last branches and discover I have a pocket up top. That's a drag. Then you have to get out your hemostats and pull stuffing out, and that's just a drag. So we're going to keep doing this. And I think what we're going to have to do is I will do some decorations of this. I'll show you, and I'll read the rest. I'll show you what I'll do, but I'll do it later this weekend, and I'll post a picture of it. So if you're still with me, thank you. And you can see a picture on the Simply Colorful Facebook page. So make sure to go like that. And if anyone happens to be watching this and you haven't subscribed to the Simply Colorful YouTube channel, go for it. Not like it's just going to make your life easier. You're going to get a notification when I go live. That's all it is. And for me, it just lets me know who's out, how many people are out there. I don't do anything with who's out there. I'm not even sure I can see that or know how to see it, but because to tell you the truth, that stuff doesn't interest me. I'm discovering. I wish it did. I wish I was curious about search engine optimization and all that. But I'm not. But that's okay. Okay. So I'm just trying to circulate around, not do any one set of branches too far down, so I keep it balanced. Okay. See, this is going to be cute. Hopefully it's going to stand up and it won't be too top heavy. What I can probably do is, if need be, I don't need to use this. Or I can use more wire armature to get it to stand. But let me see who else is out there before we call it a FiberCast. Merry Christmas. Oh, Misty, I'm so glad you're out there. Carol. Hi, Carol. Oh, and it's titled Good Fortune. She says, hi, Lynn and FiberCasters. I hope you've all had a good week in Thanksgivings. She says, I have had a different week. Wednesday through today, I have had men in the house fitting new windows. Yay, I got new windows, but have spent the coldest few days of the season with holes in the house instead of windows. I bet. But congratulations. Carol, it must be so different. Carol's in Yorkshire, England, and I can only imagine. Congratulations on your windows. She says, I'm working on the first clue for Bonnie's new mystery called Good Fortune. I didn't know that's what it was called. Called Good Fortune, and I've got 4 patches done. Only another 237 to go. I have to say, yes, I've made mine green and neutral because I changed the colors around and not because I can't read. Yours, Carol, in Yorkshire, England. Oh, Carol Bell, you make me laugh. And oh, doesn't that look great? Another mystery is underway. Oh, awesome. Keep us posted. There's nothing like a 4-patch, right? Excellent. Linda, hi. Linda says, I've been just watching you the last 2 months while I'm recovering from total knee replacement surgery. Oh, that's right. I've enjoyed all your recent projects, living my love of fibers through you. Oh, I'm so glad. Linda says, say hello to all fibercasters, and the tree looks like it's going to be cute. Well, thank you. And oh, I can tell that knee in Quill Haven is going to be bionic. I can just tell. Oh, and I'm glad you have it raised. That's good. Keep on doing your work, and I'm glad you're out there, and good for you. I've always heard that is a good thing to do, that those new knees are miraculous. Well, hello, everyone. Let me make sure. Oh, Franklin Mills having a Thanksgiving sale. Joanne's having a sale. Who isn't having a sale? That's what we can talk about in our last few minutes of FiberCast is sales. And talk about whether we really need any of it. I am going to try so hard just to buy what if I really need it. Because I don't need a thing. My mother will tell you that. My sister will tell you that. Oftentimes, and I love the minimalist on Facebook. And there's been a recent, is it a meme or a quote? It says, nothing you buy today is going to make you feel any better tomorrow. Something like that. Basically said, buying things, I don't know about you guys, but it gives me a jolt. It's fun. And makes you feel good for a little while, then wears off fast. Okay. So why don't we? So I'll just keep stuffing it, right? This is what I thought it was going to be. And because I went skinnier and narrower and I added a bow, it's going to be tall. And so you know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow and the next day when my quilts are on the machine is okay. After I stuff the whole thing, I'm going to use a ladder stitch and sew the bottom. So the bottom, I'm sure, will look like a star, a stuffed star. And presumably, it should sit by itself just like that. Says the tree can sit without a base if you choose. You may have to work the stuffing around a bit so the tree sits correctly, right? We're sculpting with fiber, so we can do that. If you would like to have a tree on the base, leave a small opening on 2 of the sections opposite each other near the center. Fold the wire in half, this wire, and gently slide the 2 ends up the opening. So pretend this is all stuffed, right? And I'm sure this doesn't get stuffed up very easily. But the instructions say stuff it up a ways. Leave some wire extended from the bottom of the tree. This will fit into the hole in the spool or wooden block. So I will squish that and put it in that hole. If the wire is thick enough, it will pressure fit into the opening. Use the pliers to squeeze the wire so it will fit in the hole. That's where I need the pliers. Okay. You can add some glue if you'd like. If you do not have a tight fit, wrap the wire with a scrap of fabric, yarn, or a bit of paper, and then push it down and secure it. And then it says, decorate your tree. This is the fun part. Using beads, small charms, buttons, sew them to the points of each branch. Excuse me. If you use gold or silver metallic thread and let the bead dangle slightly, it really looks like an ornament. You can make garland from beads or use miniature decorations available at craft stores, which of course Pat was kind enough to include. And she made one of these for everyone in our club, by the way. She's wonderful. Let's see. Tree toppers can be made from balsa wood stars by gluing 2 stars back to back on a straight pin. Oh, how cool. With a flat flower head available at Joann's, star and snowflake buttons can be used in the same way. Look for ones without shanks or cut the shanks off. What a neat idea. So I could take a, oh, and she even included a straight pin. Okay, I have to show you this. Such attention to detail. So here's what she's saying. Here are 2 balsa stars, balsa wood stars. She's saying, and here's a pin with a flat flower head. She's saying take some glue, glue it on the balsa star, and glue both sides so that you end up with a pin with a star, and then that can go down right into the top of your tree. Isn't that creative? So smart. Thank you, Pat. Okay, so I think on that note, I think we're going to call it for tonight. I have my ingredients. I have the start of the tree. I'll post the finished tree on the Simply Colorful website. Have a great holiday weekend. I hope you get to do what you want to do and do it with whomever you want and choose to do it with. And thanks again. I'll see you next Friday night right here on FiberCast. Bye, everyone.